Hey, it's Isaac from Modest Mouse, here to shill and sell things to you that I didn't use around my studio as much as I should have or had redundancies of. I would go down to the music store and I'd just buy anything that looked interesting to me. I could just take it back or resell it, but then I wouldn't do that. And shit, I'd be like, you'll have a purpose someday. But I'd kind of panic that like if I didn't have a whole bunch of new gadgets or tools to work with, I was gonna make the same songs and things. But instead what happened is I'd find one or two things I liked a lot and sometimes wouldn't even dive into some other shit. Getting through this place used to be a maze of shelves of shit. I was like, I can't find the things I'm looking for. I'm like, where is the thing I'm looking for? Someone stole it! That's my go-to. No, it's just behind 20 other fucking things. You know, a large part of why I've decided to clear out some stuff that I even like is because I have option fatigue. If I get interested in something, I get way too interested for a short amount of time. So I ended up buying every shitty drum machine I could possibly find. Turns out some of them are great. And then for a minute, all I did is I'd just try and sync up random drum machines, play them through as loud as speakers as I fucking could. Like they'd be going like 24 hours a day, just option fatigue started coming into place. So now I want less drum machines. When I decided which drum machines to get rid of and whatnot, I was like, are there redundancies in sound and things? You know, like okay, let's keep 50% of these. The Korg is like a really clean, nice sounding drum machine. And it was, honestly, it was more polite than I wanted it to be. When I was playing with the drum machine, I then just stacked them through a ton of pedals and it would get really fucking trippy. I think I've got like a possible literal 1,000 hours of me recording myself do this drum machine shit, which I should have probably sifted through at the time rather than just like stacking it up, because like I will not be revisiting this. Any glitchy thing that actually is like in actual language is pretty fun. One of the speak and spells, it just puts together random and often freaking spooky sentences. You know, you're like, oh, I don't agree. Like, I think one of them made it onto the song Wooden Soldiers, and maybe another song. We played with them a lot. Dave Sardi, the producer, because they have very specific power requirements, some of them, as in if you plug in the wrong thing, it instantly cooks it. But they also, because these are like, you know, circuit bent, these are, people are making these at their, you know, like at home. And so they don't often come with very clear instructions at all. So it's good to Google that specific thing and figure out what kind of power it wants. I suggest a battery. They're incredible and conceptually they're great. And you can make really cool sounds with them. And it's for a certain type of music making. There's no way I could ever use those things live. And I was just like, there's gotta be an easier way to get to this, so someone else can do better shit with these things than I can. The Eurorack thing, I was given countless lessons on how to use this stuff, and at times I'd use it really well. But I had so much fucking, there's gotta be more than 100 Eurorack things in there, and I still have 100 downstairs. What do they call people who try turning Smurfs into gold? Alchemist. Yeah, anything that has kind of an alchemy vibe, I was just like, and things, or anything with like a lot of things that lit up, I was just like, but they weren't necessarily things I needed. When it comes to pedals, if I like a pedal, then I buy a second one. And sometimes if I assume I like a pedal, I buy a second one. And if it's not going on the road with me, I don't need two of them. Like, if it's a studio thing, one will do. And shit, you know, in some instances. So rather than have two of fucking everything, I'm selling half of anything that doesn't end up on the road. I have two sub 37s and maybe three, so that's an amazing freaking synth. Why not? One of my favorites. I think it's on that song Fuck Your Acid Trip. I know it's on a bunch of stuff from Strangers to Yourself, because Lisa Molinaro was using it on stage as one of her main instruments. So it's probably all over that thing. The Voyager is just too valuable for me to keep for how little I use it. It's like, I have plenty of shit that sort of does this, and it might be too nice for me. Brian and I have known each other for a very long time. At that time, all I played was Super 6s, which are inherently troubled because however they're traditionally wired, kills tubes quick. And so him and I would start working on ways to work around it. Then he got into making amps. Then when I'd have him make an amp head for me, I'd have him make me a backup in case anything went wrong. And once you've got, like, I think I have 5 or 6 of them, I'm like, that's too many amps to do essentially the same thing. Fucking amazing amps. I shouldn't sell them. His guitar amps, and he would always make this claim, and I kind of was like, oh, okay, whatever you say. He's like, they're fucking the best bass amps. They're the best bass amps. True. When I hit moments of purge, I'm cutthroat for the most part. Probably by the time we're done with this, we'll have pulled out a third of it. You know, because like that's happened to me already when someone's like, okay, so this thing. I'm like, what? Not that thing. I'm not a fucking salesman. I'm not trying to be. I'm like, I've got this shit I don't use. You want to use it? It's for sale. That's where we're at. Use your bank account on this shit. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Am I just bad-mouthing everything? Because, I mean, it's really hard not to.